Hi, my name is Joauna Schofield, and I'm the early childhood librarian in Akron, Ohio, and I wanted to read a little bit from Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I chose this banned book in particular because I think everybody needs to find a character they can relate to, and there's lots of awkward kind of social pariahs in this book that I could definitely relate to as a teen. And if it was pulled out of libraries and I had never read it, I don't think I would have found another character I related to quite as much. So I'll go ahead and start and read some of my favorite from there. I sat quietly, dazed, my thoughts incoherent. My hands were folded in my lap, and I was leaning weakly against the back of the seat. He still had his face in his hand, and he was as still as if he'd been carved from the stone his skin resembled. Finally, he looked up, his eyes seeking mine, full of his own questions. "Are you ready to go home?" he asked. "I'm ready to leave," I qualified, overly grateful that we had the hour-long ride home together. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to him. The waitress appeared as if she'd been called, or watching. "How are we doing?" she asked Edward. "We're ready for the check, thank you." His voice was quiet, rougher, still reflecting the strain of our conversation. It seemed to muddle her. He looked up, waiting. Sure, she stuttered. "Here you go." She pulled a small leather folder from her front pocket of her black apron, and she handed it to him. There was a bill in his hand already. He slipped it into the folder and handed it right back to her. "No change," he smiled. Then he stood up, and I scrambled awkwardly to my feet. She smiled invitingly at him again. "You have a nice evening." He didn't look away from me as he thanked her. I suppressed a smile. He walked close beside me to the door, still careful not to touch me. I remembered what Jessica had said about her relationship with Mike, how they were almost to that first kiss stage. I sighed. Edward seemed to hear me, and he looked down curiously. I looked at the sidewalk, grateful that he didn't seem to be able to know what I was thinking. He opened the passenger door, holding it for me as I stepped in, shutting it softly behind me. I watched him walk around the front of the car, amazed, yet again, by how graceful he was. I probably should have been used to that by now, but I wasn't. I had a feeling Edward wasn't the kind of person that anyone would get used to. Once inside the car, he started the engine and turned the heater on high. It had gotten very cold, and I guessed the good weather was finally at an end. I was warm in his jacket, though, breathing in the scent of it when I thought he couldn't see me. Edward pulled out through the traffic, apparently without a glance, flipping around to head toward the freeway. "Now," he said significantly, "it's your turn."